Yep.
It's working.
Very cool. Well, I didn't know I could push it to YouTube from my phone. So that's awesome. Awesome. Okay. I think I may need to go back and uh, hopefully it's muted still on YouTube. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to Monday morning, December 8th. This is session 5. We're going to do a recap today. So I want to look at, I gotta get to my notes. How's everybody doing this morning? I hope everybody is well. What's your word for the day? Let me click record. Okay, so it's recording. This is pretty cool. All of this is available on the dashboard of the mobile app when you turn it sideways. I had an amazing weekend. You're going to see some conversations of and some emails. Tomorrow is the book launch with the 21 celebrity authorities, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Great weekend at the Inner Circle. We'll do another conversation on that. This is about the discovery of self. But there was one picture, I noticed there was one picture that Dan Armstrong had posted. And I started adding up the assets because these are people I know. Some of these people I've known for 7 years now, 8 years. But I added up the assets in that picture. And from real estate to many warehouses to other holdings, there was over $1 billion of assets in that. Okay, so the camera's over here. About $1 billion in assets in that photo, which just makes me giggle because we have some of the best fun. And it's one of those places where you can come and let your hair down and just be a good student. Kyle asked me, he said, "What's your word for the day? Word for the weekend?" I said, "Student." I said, "I'm coming here. I'm not. I'll help you get the people riled back into the community when after breaks and stuff." I said, "And I'll be happy to help and support in any way, but I am just coming to be a good student this week." So that being said, let me go over here. Can you all still see me? Yes. Just want to make sure because whenever I leave the app, there's a screen that pops up. But and if you can give me an audible because I don't see text from this screen.
Yeah, you see
Okay,
it.
cool. Awesome. Hey, Michael. Good to hear your amazing voice. All right, so recap. Um, the reason I asked you the word uh, is because session 1 was about the identity reset. What is the identity that you are going to choose today? So let me ask you that. I saw word study. I saw the word light. Um, I'm sure I saw a couple more words. I don't recall them just off the top of my head. They're sitting in my subconscious. What if the word was wealthy? What if the word was watch it? Watch this. Take your word, study, light, some of the other words I saw, and what if it was you added the word rich to it or wealthy to it? What would wealthy light? Uh, because I worked with Heather on it and we talked about it here on the call. I believe hers was light. What if it was proud light? And I want to open it for dialogue real quick to see how that shifts it. We always have our DMP. Your DMP is to be proud. And that can adjust, that can adopt to time. For this conversation, what if it was proud light? What would shift in your energy? What would shift in your identity? What if when you look at adding your word for the day or word for the year, we're going to do that after these 15 sessions are over. We're going to spend a lot of time to find your word for the year. We're going to probably do a session on that, your word. Because I want to add some gravity to these things. Some of you have been invited to the school community, right? Alex Hermosi's platform that he uses. I went ahead and pulled the trigger this past weekend at the urging and nudging of LG Lisa Grossman here this weekend. I'm staying with her this weekend. I think it's going to be fun because we had Mighty Network. I think there's a lot more available inside of school. So anyway, so that's a whole nother thing. So mine is taking space in people's minds and in their eyes and in their hearts and in their ears and in their wallets, in their finances. So mine is taking space. And so I'm going to find ways to be able to give you a space that'll allow you to give to me. So that's the identity. So the first day we talked about was identity reset, right? Understanding that identity shapes our decisions and our outcomes. When you look at the word study, so Zalika is doing some awareness, some education, something around study was her word. Can you study the way you study? It's one thing to be in the action. Can you be the definition? If somebody says, well, what does it look like when somebody studies? And that your name pops up. Oh, well, you need to talk to Zalika. Zalika is a studier. She studies information, she studies people, she studies moments, she studies being present. This is why we struggle, is because we may not give ourselves the gravity, the mass of our intentions. I would like that 2025 is the year you play deep. You play deep, you become unaffected by any temporary flows in life. Many of you know my mission, my goal in life, my desire is to leave a legacy of 600 generations. Now, there's days where I sometimes wonder, will it last an hour? Will it last 2 hours? Will it last a week, a month, a year? So there's still some pretty big impacts that I have available to me to participate in. So what are the traits or the habits that define your future self? So take your word for the day, and this is on identity, and I want to have an open dialogue. We're gonna go into session 2, vision casting, but I want to have dialogue about identity and answer your questions, because this is a recap of the first 4 days, right? The first 4 sessions. So what would your future self, your future identity, the one that's wealthy, the one that's healthy, the one that's free of any, what would you say, free of any obligations to others, AKA debt free? What would it be to be debt free, not only in finances, but what would it mean to be debt free in society? People that you feel you owe something, or you owe an apology. What if that slate became apology free, became uncomfortable free? What would it mean to be in your mind debt free? So if you look at what would your future self, Zalika, say about study? your 2025, your December 8th, 2025 version of you, what would it say about study? How would your take, your perception, your views on study change a year from now as you've hit your goals, reached your targets, um, change the way you look at things and the things you look at change? Do you do things in a certain way all the time? What would be the certain way of studying that your future self would do, that would be a secret, that would be a hack, that would be a magnificent cheat code that you learned over the course of 2025? Because it's available to you now. If anything in the future is available to you, it's available to you now, because there is no time. It's only energy and time. So something to think about. What would light look like to your 2025 version, Heather? That makes sense? So questions, comments, thoughts on identity. Takeaways. How have you looked at your identity over the past week? Because I think we started this 7 days ago, on Tuesday of last week. Or maybe it was Wednesday. Tuesday, maybe. Any questions, comments?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
So, being a proud light is a little intimidating.
I was going to say it. That sounded like it hit pretty heavy.
Yeah, it did. It did. Because when I was in meditation earlier, asking myself questions, it's so funny that you asked what is the word of your day, because that's what came up. Be the light for everyone who you encounter. Not be the light, but be a light.
Right.
Be a bright spot in the day for everyone, for every encounter. And adding that descriptor of proud to it is a little bit, I'm still struggling with the word proud. I'm still struggling with it because of that, just those ingrained ideals, I guess, around the word proud. I'm still untangling that.
Okay, so here's what I just heard. What if proud was a verb instead of a noun?
Oh, do proud instead of be proud. Ah,
What if you were
yes.
able to do proud and leave it all over somebody? That maybe for the first time they can feel, because of the way you show up, you are proud to be the light. And because this light of pride shows up, it doesn't show up so they see you, it shows up so they see them.
Yeah, that is beautiful. I love that, to do proud.
So now,
Thank you.
so now it's not so tangly, is
No, it's not so tangly. No.
it?
That's beautiful.
Go ahead and clear your vagus nerve.
Ah, yeah, that's good.
So now the echo is okay to be heard.
Yes.
So when you are doing proud, you get to hear proud back. A thank you means something different now. It doesn't mean something different. It takes on a different gravitas. Because they're saying thank you they're proud to say thank you. How many of us are forced into a forced thank you? I kind of do it sometimes just because it's when I smile at somebody with such intensity and you get that smile back, that's like, you're almost taking the smile from them, but it's because of mirror neurons, right? That's why
Sure.
a lot of times I have to practice. I have to remind myself, do this for good. Don't do it just because you want to see somebody smiles. Do it for good. Allow them to be Allow them to be able to be present with themselves. So offer the smile and allow them to take it, which is the same smile. It just doesn't have any, there's not a forced reciprocation, because there's the law of reciprocation. I say up, you say down. I say in, you say out. That is the forced law of reciprocity. You are part of the formula now. So if I smile, mirror neurons say you're going to smile back. You're going to acknowledge it. But can you smile? Can you send out pride? Can you do pride in such a way that doesn't intimidate, doesn't overwhelm, doesn't make them to go through the feeling that you just were. This is the perfect example. The best person you could help is the person you just were. What was the transition? How can you energetically transcend what you just experienced at an energetic level when you do your light that is not asking them to shine their light back? But is it okay if they become the moon and be seen?
Wow.
So that's a cool identity,
It is. It is. I like it. I'm going to embrace it.
So
Yes.
now you hear yourself saying, I can do proud.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool.
And after doing, I will become.
Yep. I love
So
it.
lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome. So who else understands?
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Silky.
How are you?
Outstanding. Getting ready to head back to the ranch, so I'm excited.
Well, give my love to Lisa before you leave.
I will.
And give her a big hug for me.
Yes.
And my word of identity last week, we talked about value. But what I found very interesting once we talked about that, because I was feeling I wasn't giving enough value. But it seems like since then, in just this 1 week, I have received a lot of value from others just because I put this word out there. It's just incredible. I didn't even think of that until just now when you were mentioning it. And I'm like, here, I was so worried that I wasn't giving value. Yes, I take action and I give value, but I have received tremendous value in the last week. And I'm feeling just so amazing how I have received that suddenly. Like my story in Business for Home. I've wanted this. This was one of my dreams, to have something about me in Business for Home for the last 5 years. And I mean, it's like a dream come true. And I would have never thought it would like happen suddenly. I mean, it was like out of the blue. So yes, I mean, I have received so much value and from someone else as well. And I always receive so much value from you and everyone else here. So thank you. I wanted to share that, but I'm like really so incredibly happy this morning, and I feel so light and just want to embrace the world and everyone. So big hugs to all of you.
I love that. And so as you were communicating, Silky, the thing I heard was that, because there's a term in English, birds of a feather flock together, right? Our vibe creates our tribe. A couple of things that might serve you in the coming 72 hours is that your audience is going to start to step in to allowing the value to arrive in their life, and they're going to have the same aha. So it will serve you to understand how you allowed yourself to transition from, well, yeah, but I need to do more. If you give to me, I need to give back. Where you're having a wonderful energetic experience is that when somebody gives to you, you are simply receiving it. And in your receiving, other people feel very comfortable because they now know they can give you the gift, and the gift of value is to receive from others effortlessly.
I love
So,
that.
yeah, I offer you that because you're a very strong, powerful, energetic, entrepreneurial woman. You wear a lot of hats, AKA the one you're wearing now, even. And all too often, we forget to allow others. Some of the best value I brought this weekend was letting people sit and ask me questions that were simple for me, easy for me, just to be able to listen to people. I provided so much value to a couple of very powerful women. It was one sentence. I was stuck because my dad this, my dad that. I listened. I said, is it okay if your dad sits down? And the lights, the fireworks that went off in their head, they didn't know they could let their dad sit down from this mental image. And we all watched her literally at the table, her body physically morph. The stress, the anxiety, she literally grew younger right in front of it. You could hear a gasp for the 6 people that were sitting around. They went, huh. I said, you all saw that, right? It's like a flash of lightning. It's just this thing like that. And it just happens in the body like that. And it was because she could finally receive herself. So I applaud you for that, because this has happened in a week.
Yes.
And so continue to allow it, because what can happen is we reach, and this is for everybody, the biggest challenge we have on a transformational journey of identity is that at some point somebody's going to go, is that really who you think you are? And we're going to fold like a house of cards. We're just going, if we're not doing the rest of the 3 days, right, the 4 days that we're going to cover here real quick, the identity gets ripped right out of us. Because this identity is new. This identity you have is a week old. This identity that Heather just went through is 30 minutes old, of being able to do proud instead of be proud. It's these are Wallace D. Wattles moments. It's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way. And if we can wrangle, if we can wrap our arms around identity, and then it's a lot easier to vision cast our dreams from that identity, because now you sit in a person of value. Now you stand on a stage in 3 different countries during the course of a weekend, a super Saturday, a super success weekend, and you're in Belgium, and you're in California, and you're in Italy, and you're in Rome, and all of a sudden you're in 3 different countries, 3 different languages, with the key to bringing value. Now all of a sudden you are this icon. Oh my gosh, you're going to start to hear people, I got so much value from you. And you have to allow that. That's, are you ready for the love? Oh, I read your story in Business from Home. I got so much value from that. You're going to be like, well, somebody thought I didn't do it right. And this, no, you got to just say, isn't that fascinating? I love it. I'm so glad it brought you value. You have no idea the gift you just gave me and letting me hear that. So just be aware of that as you go through your identity, because if you're adopting or committing to a version of you, your future version self, this is a new identity, and it doesn't have the years of operating. So it's fresh. It's like it's like your first love. So I love it, love it, love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I love it too. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I love you so much too.
I love you too. Who else? Anyone else want to chat on identity before we go to vision casting?
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Weezy.
I heard it already, but how are you?
Outstanding.
I love it. I love it. I actually it took the weekend for me to find my word, and at first I thought, this is so simple. Of course, the word is better. Now, when you were talking to Heather, that completely shifted to be better versus do better. Oh my gosh. And you had suggested putting wealth that earlier with that. And I went, okay, better wealth.
But how about
But
this?
to
What
do
would
better wealth.
well, what would Dr. Freud, what would a wealthy better be? Instead of better wealth, what would a wealthy better be?
Wow.
Right? So it's not about taking, see, this is how the brain works. Oh, I need to do better wealth. I need to do better health. No, what would a healthy better be? That one, I think, just went off, fireworks went off in my head for you particularly. A healthy better, not about your health. How can you do better so it doesn't harm you? It's not a sacrifice for you. Kind of cool.
Wow. That definitely gives better weight. It gives weight. And one of the things this week of this whole decision of self, I have found myself doing being better in that I don't care what the body wants. I wake up and that specific number that we said that in the introduction is just going like ticker tape through my head. Right, I don't have to think about it. It's right there. And if that's it, with all of the things that go with it, I have to do better. I have to do better. I understand the do part now. Up to this point is I had to be better, which was had a grind to it.
And so now, when you have a conversation, you get to ask, hey, listen, at the end of our conversation, what would better be for you? My goal is to do better, is to have a better doing. And if for me to have a better doing, it would serve me well to know my goal is to leave you with better. What would better look like for you in the next 15 minutes? How could you take better with you long term? What could we work on that would become better in your life in the next 7 days, 14 days, 21 days?
Love it.
It's kind of cool, right? And so that's why we're going back, and about every 4 days, we're going to have a recap of what we've just covered so that it really starts to sink in. Because if all of a sudden doing pride sinks in for Heather, everything is better. Everything is different. If being better, a better being shows up for you, your being, your essence, your you becomes better, and you become a better being, then everybody who's around you becomes better by default.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Right? So, and all this is I want you to feel, and everybody who's listening to this word exchange, it is simply sometimes we have to put other things first, right? A wealthy being. What if do I have to do wealthy better? No, what if you had a wealthy better? What if the thing is the thing, and we started to add these adjectives and dialogues and descriptions to it? It became a thing. And if it's a verb, turn it into a noun. If it's a noun, turn it into a verb, and just change. This is a Waddles moment. This is a Dyer moment. Change the way we look at things so the things we look at change. Love it.
Fantastic.
Who,
Fantastic.
who else? Anyone else before
Thank
we
you,
go to?
Sean.
Yeah,
I
You're
love
welcome.
I do have a letter of thanks for you. Not a question more, but a letter of thanks. Because this weekend for me was transformational, to say the least.
Wow.
The reason is I went over the notes. So what I do is I take my notes on the PC,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm write them in my big book, and then after the whole, the whole 15 sessions, I'm gonna rewrite them in my small book.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to go over them a couple of times, right?
Yep.
So this weekend, me and my lady, we went out. We went out to Bosnia to visit a steakhouse, and we went there. So we had lunch, started talking about stuff, and this was our first 7 level deep conversation, right?
Aw.
So we talked about certain things, and she told me how she views some stuff and how she looks at some things and so on. And then I started talking, and she started crying. And I said, "Why are you crying?" And she was crying because I wasn't explaining my story. I wasn't telling my story to have a pity party, but I told her some stuff that happened to me and how I saw them and how they actually made me better. And she just, started crying. So I was like, okay, okay. Came back home. I started reading my journal, the small black book, which has all the nuggets in there. And at some point, I was amazed. At another point, I was just starting to giggle because I couldn't believe this was me writing this. How can I write this? Because this is so good, right? So the word for me was, and I just changed it 5 minutes ago as you were talking. My word was evidence because I want to see evidence, right? But then I realized, well, if I see evidence, what am I gonna be? I'm gonna be certain. So if I'm certain, what lies beneath that? If I'm certain, it means I have confidence in myself. I'm confident. And then I said just now, 5 minutes ago, as you were adding, rich better, wealth better, and so on, I said, well, if I'm confident in myself, what does that mean? And I came to a conclusion it means self-love. And I'm just getting goosebumps right now. If I think about my entire year this year, I wouldn't made it if I didn't have self-love because when you're laying down there, you're hurt. I mean, you are hurt real bad and you don't know what's going to happen. If you don't love yourself enough, you're just going to crack under the pressure. And I didn't. So when I think about it a bit better, my word is self-love. So thank you for that. That's, that was, that was deep for me.
So you ready for the next level?
Yes, sir.
So you said you had self-love, and you did. What I would like for you to, in a moment of meditation, because here's what I saw when you said that. I saw you in the hospital. I saw you with all of the challenges. I saw the moments you were alone. And self-love that you had, that you now allowed yourself to realize you have the evidence of self-love. What I saw is that it was a continuous, even in the moments where you needed to use your self-love, you were still creating it. Because what I saw was the bandages being ripped off, like a Band-Aid being ripped off time after time. Every time you looked around, every time self-doubt came in, because it was a battle between doubt and self-love, doubt and delay, fatigue and frustration and delay, pain and self-love. The self-love was this thing that got sacrificed. If you know anything about boats, they put aluminum pieces under the boats to help with electrolysis, and that becomes the sacrificial part of the boat. So the rest of the boat doesn't get electrolysis and ruin and eat all of the metal because of the dissimilar energies from the battery and the salt water, all of that. So the sacrificial part of you became self-love, was the sacrifice that most people can't make it through, is because they run out of it. Even in your moments of greatest pain and suffering, you were able to still generate it. in that isolated room, in that poorly lit room, in that place where you were a name and a number all in the same place, you were still able to generate it. So, and it was just all you needed was 6 millimeters of love to get through the next moment. Just this little bit, but you kept replacing it and you kept generating it. That you didn't know how. You had no clue how it was happening. You weren't even paying attention to how it was happening. But because here's what people say, because of this community, because of you, Sean, because of the work I did on myself, I had enough to get through. So you had already filled your self-love bank prior to the accident. And you had enough in the bank to get through the accident and to get out of the hospital and then to want to walk without crutches. All of a sudden, you kept making sure the roots were deep enough that no matter how many times somebody cut it, snipped it, took their pound of self-love from you, you were able to regenerate.
Wow, that's a different perspective right there. Yes, sirree. That's it.
Right?
I was really thinking about it. I really love what you mentioned, that we have this new identity that's what, 7 days old?
Yeah.
We had our 30 minutes or whatever. I really love how this guy is developing. I really love this avatar. I really love this character because I'm becoming aware of so many things just in the last couple days that were there, but I wasn't, I just wasn't aware of them. And going back to the journal story, I really started rereading my entries and really finding out that it's some of that stuff is good. I mean, some of that stuff is really good because just coming to terms with this, for example, just let's use this. This is what I wrote down for myself. At some point after the second one, so this was on Wednesday. I said to myself, what a call today. A definite major victory. So good. Feels like my old self now, and the more I think, the more perfect it gets. Certainty damn sure feels great. Belief in yourself is a supreme feeling. And then I said to myself, I am absolutely certain in me, because it's all meant to be anyway. And last night I had a breakdown after reading that, and it was so good. So good. So I really love this character, really love the journey. And what even makes me more excited is that it's only been a week. Not
And
even-
that right there, my friend, is so critical for us to look at the transformation that's happened in a week. Because if we believe in the principle of Kaizen, 1% better every day, imagine if we didn't need to double this, but that's typically what happens, and it's called momentum and quantum leaps. And most people rip their own wheels off of their airplane and land on their belly because they're like, it can't be this easy. I want you to look at how hard you had to struggle, all of you who needed to struggle over the last week. And it wasn't in the effort, it was in the understanding. It was in the changing the way we look at things. Because all of this was as close as your skin. All of this that you went through this last week existed 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, it can exist next week too if you choose to. This is all about choice. This is about awareness and decisions cut off, decision of self. Can I take care of me? Can I have more? Am I going to allow more of me so more of me can allow more? Cool stuff. Love it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, brother. Anyone else? And if it pops up, if something pops up as we're chatting, you guys know. And if something is cool, right? If you get this aha, remember, for those of you that may not know, you're more than welcome to anytime just shout out bonus. Because what that does is it emotionally gives you an anchor to that particular thing. Like, just unmute and go bonus. So you're more than welcome to do that. So now the day 2, right? That was day 1. Session 2 that we talked about was vision casting. think this week, just based upon what you've heard people share so far, and anyone who's now ironing in, getting the wrinkles out of their identity, finding that space and place for them to operate from easily and effortlessly, the foundation, the filter through which to see things, whether it's better, whether it's self-love. Because when you go in, as you go deeper into self-love, AJ, that is going to be a vibration that instantly flows into whoever you encounter. Your smile of wanting to give will be one of self-love. And it literally, energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically arrives in their life, and they don't see it as you loving yourself. They receive the smile as it's okay for them to smile. And you'll see people who didn't want to ever smile before give themselves a chance to feel what self-love feels like, because it's not, hey, listen, you love me, show up, but you got to see me. It's you can be seen and give so much love and energy from that self-love that it literally translates into them as love for themselves. So from this identity, as we continue to hone, as we continue to tweak, as we continue to Michelangelo chip away everything that's not your identity, doesn't it make sense that in session 2 we talked about crafting the emotionally charged vision of 2025? Based upon what you've heard Wheezy and Heather and AJ talk about, doesn't it seem like there's a lot more emotion around the words on the paper, the wants, the wishes, the goals for 2025? And this is what happens in visualization. How far away is the goal, right? So when we do a visualization training, okay, close your eyes. Is it, if there's a horizon, does your goal sit below the horizon, closer to you? Does it take space in the horizon because it's so big? It's not at the horizon, but it's big enough that it's taller than the horizon, right? We start to look at these things and your brain's going, oh, wait a minute, what? So what's your takeaway as you start to intentionally connect deeply and emotionally when how many of you heard the shift in providing value, being value from Silky, when she talked about value is coming into my world like instantly, and in a week there's been so much value, and it's because this is what I call it, it's the karma payback. Sometimes we can't accept, imagine your cash register is closed. And if you imagine and you just push the sale button, didn't type in a price, just push the sale button or open drawer button, money can start to flow in. We have this perception that money always has to flow out. Every time the drawer opens, it has to flow out. Not if you're providing value, not if you're doing pride, not if you're doing better. In today's society, we need better. We need people to find pride in themselves. We call it self-worth. Do you know how many people are sick because of the way they see themselves? What if part of your process was for people to write down what's something proud you did since our last visit? What's something that made you feel pride in yourself, in others? You'll watch their wellness change dramatically. So, who's got some questions or comments or some ahas on vision casting, creating emotionally charged visualizations of your future self? Or what has even shifted since we just revisited identity about your vision casting? And I can't see you, so if you have your hand up, feel free to just shout out. What might you do different now? It's been 5 days, right? That song. It's been just started to play in my head. I don't know the words to the song, but that music started playing. How would you see vision casting different now? What's an aha that you kind of tripped over? And in the magic of editing, I can cut out this silence. Jim Rohn would say this is a clue.
All right, I'll
I'll
throw
throw-
out there.
I'll jump under the bus.
I will throw out that thread of doing proud I mean that is I'm having a difficult time finding my words. The emotions are big and I'm having a hard time translating them into words. That thread of proud, of doing proud, can go through, yes, I want to be a light, but being able to sew that thread of doing proud into everyone who walks in the door.
So
asking them about what are you proud of since the last time we met? That can make a huge difference in their compliance to a wellness protocol.
So what if there was a text that went out to help set the stage that said, hey, listen, I don't know if I've told you how proud I am of you taking this journey. And that could be copy and paste to everyone. But because of the energy you send it with, you are doing proud. Right? What's that thing they say when somebody goes off to war? So I don't know, or somebody goes to do something, do me proud.
Yeah.
You are now doing you proud. So in the vision casting, can you open the door with pride? When people get in your energy orbit, when people get around me, they get a little bit louder. When people get around me, they get a little bit gigglier. Because I'm doing outstanding. How are you? It's so good to see you. It's good to see you. So I do me so that they can, I love the way I feel. And funny how if I love the way I feel and show up, somehow they get to love the way they feel and they get to step into a way they've never felt before. So as you do pride, and the word may shift. Right now, that's the big hole in it, is for you to feel pride, to be proud of all the things you do. Right? The image that just came in is Jesus washing people's feet. Teacher, I should be washing yours. No, let me serve you. And when you know who you are, and you do it with such love and intensity, it's impossible for them to not fall in love with themselves, to see how valuable they are, to see how much pride you have in serving them.
Thank you for that visual.
And so now does that, as we keep chipping away, right? This is the Michelangelo method. I may have to coin that. Right? I call it personal undevelopment. That doesn't sound as sexy as the Michelangelo method. The Statue of David method. I chip you away, not you. But isn't it fun to see that doing pride in a vision changes the way we see everything.
Yes.
And if we can change the way we see everything, guess what we get to see? We get to put that spotlight on all of the things. There's this, here's the image that pops up. So I'm trying to give you how, man, you just say all, it seems like you say all the right things. The image I have is the guy with the black light going in to look for the uranium glass, the colored glass, and how if it glows when you hit it with the light. That's the only ones he buys, because it's the one that's got the uranium in it or whatever it is. It just shows up different under the light. You shine it here, same. Well, that one lights up. What if, as we cast our vision, whether it's self-love, whether it's better, whether it's value, whether it's study, whether it's anything that's out there, whether it's proud, if we energize ourselves with that light, reticular formation system, we add the energy, right? Because this is where we get to the subconscious and the unconscious, is through energy, through emotion. We could then can say, okay, reticular activating system, only find this vibration, which now is what? Law of attraction. And when we're in this vibration, the body feels gratitude. It's done. It was amazing when I was speaking to we were doing mini masterminds, and I was asked to do a mini mastermind on Friday and Saturday. And I did accessing the subconscious for success in 2025. And when I said to him, I said, there's a huge difference between being grateful and gratitude. You'd have thought I called their mother a bad name. They went, what? I said, well, write them down. First of all, are they different words? Yes. Would you use them differently in a sentence? Yes. Then why are you using grateful to substitute as a substitute for gratitude? I'm a very grateful person. You are, which means you're not in gratitude yet. And the head step, just the top of the... When you have this ability to now vision cast from self-love, from pride, from study, and again, the words may change, the words may adapt, but what will not change is a vibration called emotion. And you get to amp it up, you get to turn it up, you get to narrow it down, and you get to really start to hone in on you becoming you. Does that make sense, y'all?
So beautiful. Bonus after bonus.
So then that takes us to session 3. Breaking limiting beliefs. Didn't we already do that, Heather? Didn't we just do some breaking of limiting beliefs around pride, around better, around evidence? The key is that sometimes our old story will give us a word that's strong. There's a difference between being strong and being powerful. Right? So session 3, we went into breaking limiting beliefs, eliminating what's holding you back. How many of you believe, simply from listening to AJ speak, about how when him and his lady had conversations, the way he spoke brought tears to her? She kind of knows him. And that's the thing about most of us who struggle with success, is most people, it's rare that somebody really gets to know us because we're afraid of failure. And Brené Brown says it best, your vulnerability gives us all strength. And because of his vulnerability, AKA getting clear on you and who you've been, who you are, and who you're becoming, it gives people so much strength, they break into tears. So what's now, based upon the little recap we've done here, of accessing your identity, who you're becoming, sitting in that identity through vision casting, as you sit in doing pride, as you sit in doing better, as you sit in self-love, are there beliefs that simply no longer even make it on the board because of this new identity and this ability to cast the vision so clearly about your future self into the now, the present moment? That beliefs that were holding us back don't even make it up on the board, don't even require any attention because they're just air. They were big cotton candy of nothing. What's some takeaways on now breaking limiting beliefs, eliminating what's holding us back because of our identity and vision casting?
Hey, can I ask a question?
Sure.
This is maybe going a bit back. So
Sure.
forgive me.
No forgiven.
But for me, I spoke about the other day. I spoke about how for me these things are causational. You know, one thing causes the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then a question that just popped. Is it true that to start off this domino chain, right? Is it true that you really need to master the identity? Because in my mind, it all makes sense now. Because if I start and really hone in on my identity, all of a sudden imagining that identity via vision casting is effortless. If I master this identity and really sit in it for a long period, I mean, all day, basically act the part. For me, I don't see how a limiting belief can touch me. I really don't. And then I started thinking about it this past weekend, and I forgot to tell you this. Started thinking about it, and all of a sudden, as I was journaling, rereading the notes, especially on the identity part,
Yep.
things started happening, man. I mean, things started happening. You know, that I just got a call from my friend. We used to work in sales a long time ago, and he said, "Hey, man, do you need a job?" And I'm like, "Well, I should start, work." And he said, "Hey, listen, I know you can work full time and so on and so forth. I mean, you can bring a suit and a tie to the office, but can you work remotely? I'm gonna bring you the equipment, everything. Can you work remotely, make a couple of G's a month, and just work whenever you want? If you want to work for 3 hours today, you can work. We need some good salespeople, so can you do that for me?" I said, "Okay, why not?" And then I get advertisement on Instagram and in my email, apply for jobs in US. It's never been easier to get a US visa. It's never been easier to do this and that. Sales job in Chicago and sales jobs in Texas. And I'm like, what? And then another thing that manifested immediately, you know how I was bitching about parking spaces in my neighborhood. Find a parking space like it's nothing, man. For a couple days in a row, like it's nothing. So for me, I once again, I really love how this character is developing. And I really love the stuff that happens to this guy. So I'm gonna be this guy now.
So going back to your initial word of evidence, do you see how because you changed the way you looked at things, you now have an abundance of evidence that allow you to self-love the guy you're becoming?
Bonus, 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 bonus. 100 time bonus times 1,000 squared on steroids.
And all of this comes back to it is as close as your skin. And one of the things that I hope everybody hears, and it may be more audible as soon as I finish my sentence, but the phrase of "are you ready for the love" isn't from outside of you. I had so much love poured into me, but unless I loved me as much as they loved me, they couldn't love me. I couldn't see their love for me. when I finished my session on Saturday, a woman who was in the group who never said, told us her name, and she said a couple of things, but she sat off of my shoulder on a chair out of my visual range. And she was the first person to come saying, I have to work with you. I said, well, I have to work with you. Isn't it neat that we get to work together? And she's a major player, big titles. And then another woman, funny how it's women and a couple of guys, but the first two were women, and the other one was a Navy pilot who is combat certified to fly F-14s, F-16s, and a lot of other things. And she said, nobody has ever connected with me in that way in 45, in an hour. We had an hour session. And I was just giggling. And the reason I say that is because the goals we have for 2025, will we not be better? Will we not be an expression of self-love? Will we not have more pride in who we are and the identity of who we are? So the words that are starting at the beginning are typically going to be always one of the key blocks of our foundation that we continue to build on. So imagine it goes from doing pride to doing giving to doing receiving. Can you receive with pride, which is, that one's a big one for a lot of us. One of the reason that I keep sharing this is I'm going through it with you. This isn't something I'm teaching from, oh, I can remember when, which is why I think maybe it's so additionally impactful, is that many of you know that when I put a course out, it's for me. So this idea of limiting beliefs is for me. I've had people say, we need more of you, which is a belief I had that, well, you know, if they need more of me, they'll find me. They don't know, they can't find me because what I help them through, they don't believe is possible. That was the thing that was the aha for me, is what I can help you do, you have no vision of, because you don't believe it's possible to do it this fast, to do it this clean, to do it this easy, to do it this repetitively, to do it this consistently. So I'm half a step, if half a step ahead. And that half a step allows me to lead. And you are all taking giant steps, which requires me to use my experience and my depth so that I can always stay even with you and not say, you should go over there. It's going to be very rare that you ever hear me say should. Should is because I'm not there. I get to speak from a place, and you get to speak from a place of just take a step with me. I'm right here. I'm right here. Take a step with me. Each week, take a step. Can you imagine what 53 weeks, 54 weeks from now is going to look like? Sit with that for just a second. And as AJ said, the person I'm becoming isn't going to face any of the beliefs, the limiting beliefs of what kept me from becoming this person. As you grow, what do they say? New level, new devil. The key is that anytime you hit a limiting belief, all it requires you is to become bigger than the belief, bigger than the limit. And that's casting. Isn't that a fascinating block? Huh? Who would I become if that's no longer an issue? Ooh, I like that person. And it's why we need community. We need to be sharing these beliefs. It's why I wanted to create a place where you can interact with each other. And on the school community thing, you're going to be able to create small little groups and have conversations and be able to inspire each other. And part of it's going to be each day or each week is to put at least 3 wins in there. Because we all get excited when we hear Wheezy talk about her success, when Zalika pops on and goes, "You won't believe what happened this week." We all get inspired when we listen. You can literally hear the shift in the vibration of the voice when Heather goes, "I can do proud. I can do proud." Kind of cool stuff. Anyone else limiting beliefs? Is this valuable? I hope it's, I know it's valuable. I want you to agree with yourself saying, yeah, this recap is kind of an icing on the cake. Session 4 is decision mastery. That's what we just talked about, right? On Friday, maybe, I guess it was. Decision mastery, the power of commitment. Can you make the decision? Decision means cut off. Can you cut off all of the limiting beliefs and the old visions and the old identities so that you can stay in this space? Because as you stay in this space, everything changes. That's the scary part. Everything is new, everything we see. And it's more of what we want and less of what we don't. How many of you have heard me say that 1,000 times? My goal in life is to help people have more of what they want, less of what they don't. It doesn't say I need you to follow my dreams and my goals and I need you to get to X number of dollars. No, more of what you want and less of what you don't. That's with every breath. Sadhguru says, in this moment, choose joy or choose misery. Somebody said in their notes when they said, so what did you like about the sessions you were in? This young boy, he's a man, 2-year-old, and another one on the way. Him and his bride were there. He said, I've never heard anybody use so many quotes to teach. And it was, he says, I know quotes. He said, Sean just rattled off 40 quotes in our hour, and every one of them landed like an atomic bomb in awareness in my mind. I was taught by Curtis. Curtis said, quotes are their own lesson. So being able to use those, so it was cool it was just a huge aha for me that what I get to share with you all is some pretty freaking amazing cool stuff. Because they got me for 2 hours. Somebody
Bonus.
came back. Thank you. Somebody came back for the second session. They said, there's some cool sessions I want to go here, but I know this is the only time I'm going to get you. I said, but it doesn't have to be that way. I said, I do this every day. Oh man, I need to join that. It's at 6 a.m. I'm like, you're a loser. I love you. You're a loser. If you love this and you're not willing to get up at 6 a.m. just to sharpen your sauce. Anyway, we do know each other. I wouldn't say that to somebody I didn't love and care for. So decision making. What's your takeaways now on decision making with your identity clearer, your vision casting clearer, understanding that when you really look at it, there's nothing holding you back, right? We are our own best advocate and our own best enemy. And if we just shift that, right, with every problem comes the seed of its own solution, Hill said. What's your takeaway now on decision, the power of commitment? Are you seeing this week starting off different already? Are you making a decision to have your best week ever? Thoughts, comments, takeaways on decision making. Decision mastery, making mastery. Decision making mastery.
I'll share something. I like to do the things that are easy for me. So
no, you're the
and
only
are
one,
fun.
Sophie. You're the only one in the world.
Yes. So I made the decision when we did this last week that I was going to do the things that are difficult for me, like writing. It's not that it's difficult for me to write. I like to talk, and I don't like to have to organize and put things in a certain way. I just don't. I know that. So it was very difficult for me to sit down and to actually write this for TED. But I had made a commitment that I was going to do it that morning, and I did it. So I felt so relieved and happy that I did it, whether, and later on when some people didn't like it, or it was actually only one person that didn't like it. So I was able to move on from that. It bothered me at first, but then after talking to you and talking to others, it doesn't matter. I don't have to please everyone. But I made the commitment to do it, and I did it. And it made me feel really, really good. It wasn't easy, but I did it. So taking action, I think, is the most important thing, whether you like doing it or not. If you want to get ahead, and if you want what you don't have, and you want to move forward, you have to take action. I think that is the most important lesson that I've learned. I mean, I've known it, but to actually do it. And I love this community. I really do. I really feel at home here. And so thank you for that. And I also thank Curtis for connecting us, because if it wasn't for Curtis, I wouldn't have known you existed. So I'm very grateful for all of that. I just wanted to share that.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I receive that. That is it. Curtis and I sat up here upstairs in the house we had a Sean and Curtis session for about 2 hours where we laughed and cried and we talked about things. And it gives me a lot of pride to know that, because he knows that if he gives somebody into my world, they're going to be taken care of. His concern sometimes is, are they ready for me? So it speaks volumes to who you are, Silke, that he had enough faith in you that you would be able to add tremendous value to my community. So big atta girl to you too for being who you are.
Thank you.
Now, going back to the challenge of writing and putting things in order, do you not have evidence now that the first thing you had to do was sit down and just say, okay, I'm going to write it. I don't know if it's going to be good. You made the decision, right?
Yeah.
And so now you have evidence that I did something that was a struggle, but you know what? I got through it and it was over. It was over in a day. It didn't take a week to do it. So congratulations on that. And we need to have these little evidences. We need to have these little reminders, because if we don't, what happens is that 2 weeks from now, you'll do another big thing and you'll get through that, another big thing, and you'll forget all of these things where you made a decision to say, I'm not going to delay. And all of a sudden things start happening rapidly and you'll say, well, yeah, but that's just who I am. I make decisions quick. No, you didn't used to. And you'll see tremendous things show up in your world, as AJ did, as you did. You're like, so many things happened this week. Everything we want is as close as our skin. It's a decision away. So big congratulations on this week. That's awesome.
Big thank you to you. It's
You are
all
welcome.
you.
And I receive that.
And I receive you. Thank you.
Who else? Anyone else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways on decision making? And then as we wrap up, what's your biggest takeaway from this session 5 of the recap? I know we talked about recap in 4 and all of that, and we keep recapping it each session, but it's important because we started off with the foundational one. One of the challenges I always have is where's the little domino that's really the one that starts it all, and identity is it. So we will probably touch on that in every session, because your identity is going to continue to grow as we start to unwrap more of this decision of self process. Anyone on decision making on any of the sessions we've covered, and on this session 5, what's your biggest takeaway from today?
I'd like to share an awareness that has become stronger as this morning has gone on, and that is an awareness in this last week. There were things from starting with the identity, my identity is that if there are always, I've always had this issue of fighting, and Veritas is very much a part of this whole thing this week. However, I have become very aware of if it's not in alignment with who I am becoming, I don't do it. It's not a question of, oh my gosh, how am I going to get over this? It's just not, I don't engage it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just become really solid this morning. It's something I was like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Just saying, yeah, I'll do that later, or whatever the thing is. Whoop, that's not in alignment with who I'm becoming. And it's pretty amazing, and it's kind of easy. And I know I don't even have that full picture yet.
Well, aren't you now doing better?
Yes.
And if you allow yourself, as you continue to do better, the picture will develop. It's kind of like the old Polaroid. It took 60 seconds, but once it was done, it's there.
Oh, that's a great image.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're seeing it. And what happens is the neat part is about as you start to develop your personal Polaroid, is you can literally change what's being developed.
Wow.
Imagine, so here's your better. Here's your homework for better for today and forever. Imagine closing your eyes and taking a Polaroid picture of your future self. And now you get to develop and turn into that picture.
See, I'm seeing lots of variegating energy, colors, and vibrations. It's pretty cool. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
That is awesome.
And that was the one thing that came that was consistent among all of the people at the mastermind this weekend was they said, you have the ability to take anything we said and turn it into something that is mind-blowing. I said, that is a gift. I said, I've had over 2,000 hours of practice at it. I should be pretty good at it. And they said, I just
totally
can't.
agree.
He says, because one guy does magic. And I said, well, are you using that in your speeches? He goes, I'm not. Oh my gosh. And so I showed him how to use language. And so it was so simple for me, right? And I had a conversation with Mason on Friday. He had done something. And I said, Mason, Einstein said, make everything as simple as possible, but not simpler. And I went into the weekend with that running in my mind and these visualization ideas, these ideas of taking a future picture of yourself and allowing it to develop, which comes instantly and effortlessly to me, but was overwhelmingly powerful for the people that hear it and for you as well. But I'm sharing with you, sometimes we do things so effortlessly, we forget how big a gift they are. And I'm taking you on this journey with me. You all are always with me. I mean, maybe you don't know how close you are, but I do put on deodorant most days. So as close as you are, you won't always smell me. But my point is that I get excited going through this process because this is as much for me as it is for you. And I hope you realize that you are on this journey and a lot of times leading me with your questions and your comments so that I can get better. So I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
what you do, Sean. I love you so much. I appreciate it's amazing. I'm so glad to be connected here.
I love it. Thank you. And we're going to have a chance to expand this community a lot with some of the things that are with this, I believe, this school community, because it's going to really allow us to invite people effortlessly into the community. So that's going to be huge.
I have
And-
a question. Good
Yes,
morning.
please. Go ahead. Good morning.
Could you just go over again about taking this picture, a Polaroid picture of
Okay.
your future?
Sure. So, Ruth, when you sit in your visualization, when you sit in your meditation, when you are helping somebody with their Reiki and you're helping somebody with their energetic field, allow yourself to go off and be the witness, to be the reporter. And as you step into this vision of yourself for December 8th, 2025, take a snapshot of it. And much like in a Polaroid, much like in any picture, there's a lot of things that are taking in that are in the picture that if we ever study a picture, we're like, oh, I didn't know. Did you see the bird in the background? Did you see the dog? Did you see that so-and-so had their tongue out or somebody's got their hands behind their head, right? Because you don't even see this stuff until the picture's taken. Go off and take this Polaroid. Well, let's do it right now. If anybody needs to jump off, they can, but let's just do a little visual on it. Let's go into, so I'm going to take you into your sanctuary of undevelopment and achievement. So let's take some breaths and let's relax a little bit and let's put on our press hat, right? We're going to go take a picture. So we're going to be the press person in our life. Take a big breath, relax, and I'm going to count 3, 2, 1, and we'll wind up inside our sanctuary. So 3, 2, 1. We're in our sanctuary. We're in that hallway that leads us into the round area, or whatever shape your area is of your sanctuary. We're walking down the hallway. We kind of have our camera around us, around our neck. We've got our little hat on, says press. And we wind up in the open area. And we see our pillars. We see our body pillar, mind pillar, finance pillar, family, society, faith. And there's this one doorway. And this doorway says, future you. And you as the press person is you want to get the inside story. You want to get the scoop on this person who they're becoming. So you hustle over to the door and it says future self. It says open with love, open with better, open with your word. It says right above the handle, open with pride, open with joy. And you open your door and you instantly hear the buzz of your future, the new customers, the clients, the books you've written, the trainings you're doing, all of this buzz is going on. And you as the reporter going in to find that version of you, and this is the future version of you, you see them. You see them, they're over there, that this year in advanced version of you, you see it, you track them down, you see a profile of them, and you're getting ready to go over to, you're trying to hustle around so you can take a straight on photo of them. You snap a picture from the side just in case, and you're moving around, you're seeing them, you're seeing what they're wearing, you're seeing their body shape, you're seeing what their hair looks like. Maybe you've changed your hair. Maybe you've got new glasses, a new style. You've got this, maybe you polka dots is in your life now. Maybe you've got this, you've taken on this brand identity. You're gracious in who you are. Your people know you for your presence, for the way you look, for the way you talk. Maybe it's new shoes, a style of shoes you like. Maybe it's kicks. Maybe it's comfortable shoes that you just do life in, but you are in your best version of you. And this version of you, the reporter, the one with the press hat on, finds their space in front of you and they notice you, and your life has become one of where people want to take pictures of you. People are comfortable with, they want to have a memory of you. And you as the press person say, hey, can I get your picture? And you say, why, of course. It would be my joy. And this future version of you poses for the picture. Maybe it's sitting behind a desk. Maybe it's you doing the activities that you do. Maybe it's you on stage. And you are instantly taken to the place where you are most beneficial to the most people. And instantly a stage appears, or maybe it's your books that you've written. Maybe it's all of these things. And the reporter version of you says, okay, say cheese. And you say cheese, and there's the flash. And the reporter version of you says, thank you. And the version of you, of the future version, goes back to their service, back to their doing, back to their better, back to their proud moments. And you walk back into the sanctuary and you close the door that says future you. And you open up the camera, however it is you get the photo out. Maybe you pull that photo out and it's now there. It is this gray photo that is coming into light. It's coming into process. It's starting to develop in full color. And you get to put onto that print all that is your desire. You start to see things like your trainings that you did, your challenges that you did in 2025 that got you to this level of success. You see this, one of the pictures is a little collage of all of the people that you've been able to serve. You see all of their smiling faces, hundreds and hundreds of people. They have the photo is taken so far away from the top of a rooftop to cover your team that's grown in your business. You see that in one little corner of this photo. You see the house that you're living in. You see your bank account in a positive format with positive numbers. You look at all of the business credit cards that you have, and the balance on them is always zero. They're doing some volume. It's not that you're not using them. It's just that your business now, it has the gracious and the peace to pay off in full your bills every month. You see that as part of the photo. You see your body in its shape. You're starting to see your curves show up, right? Maybe they were your high school curves. Maybe they were your college curves. Maybe they were your in your late 20 curves. Wherever you start to see your body in its best version that you know that you're capable of becoming. You start to see in the background is the person that you love most, this partner that you have, and they're supporting you and they're guiding you and they're helping you. All of this is starting to develop in just this little photo of yours. And here's the thing. As this photo is developing, it's already getting better. It's already getting better. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch. You can shake the photo and you can redevelop what you want on that photo. It's not locked in time and space. It's locked in energy and in movement. And as the reporter, you get to take that photo, and you have technology as this advanced human being to make a copy of that photo and leave it. You put it on a stand in the center of your sanctuary. And you take a copy with you so that you always have one with you. And you start walking back down the hallway. We're going to come back to this present moment in time. You're walking down the hallway with this photo. You hear thank you from inside the gallery of your sanctuary. People thanking you for documenting this moment of possibility and potential in your future self. You say, you're welcome. Then we're going to do a 3, 2, 1, and you'll be back to this moment in time. 3, 2, 1. Back to this present moment in time. You are your best version of you. You are developing your best version of you. And as you slowly open your eyes, You look for things that are blue in your world. And you can stretch, expand your possibilities, capabilities, clear your vagus nerve. Ooh. Oh. What's your takeaways on that?
Oh my goodness.
That's the best sound ever.
Not what I was expecting. Oh, yeah, just wow. Thank you. Thank you. Goodness.
Isn't it cool?
Yes, very, very cool.
How many of you hear Ruth's energy and a little bit different?
Oh yes, that was a bonus.
Major bonus.
It was, and thank you, Ruth, because you have a unique connection with me. I know that. And I'm honored for that connection, for you to want so much for me that sometimes when you ask questions, you might not even be sure why you're asking it. It's like, I kind of know, but I need to ask anyways. Know that you're asking it for me. So, because I needed that image too, which isn't what I was thinking when as soon as I went through the door, I went, oh my God, it's chaos back here. But I needed that to help with that expression. So that was powerful for me.
Wow. Yeah. That just blew me away.
It was kind of cool, wasn't it? It was a blow you away kind of moment. I love it. Thank you for asking that. That made me feel so good that to go do that. Because the one thing that I saw was an image from Jessie Lee Ward where they literally took the picture from the rooftop down to the parking lot because her group was so big and they were in the shape of the W, right? However you do the W that she used to do. So it brought Jessie in, it brought all of these different people into, as the picture got snapped, it was a dream board. Right? That all of these things that weren't in the photo weren't in what I could see through the lens, but they were in what I was developing. So yeah, there's a lot to that little imagery.
Oof.
Good. That makes me so happy when I hear that from you. Like, oh my God, this is so good.
Yeah, and tears just kept flowing. And so I know that it was just at the right vibration. Oh my gosh.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Who else? Thoughts, comments, takeaways? Who had a cool photo experience? I love that because I'm like, how do I go find this thing? And boom, the door popped up and said, oh, future self. Right, there's the door. It was so cool. Takeaways from that little experience. Oh, come on, somebody. I know Ruth expressed it, and I heard Wheezy express it. What else? Anyone else get a little aha?
Huge
Yes.
bonus.
Good. Good.
This will go back to a journey, a goal from, I don't know, a year ago or something.
Yeah.
My penthouse condo. The roof was, there was too many people to fit on the roof.
Fire marshal was downstairs.
Yeah.
Y'all are making this happen. Remember, I'm a good guide. And when the thing that I realize is that when I'm asked a question like Ruth asked, it would have been, well, just imagine I love how my spirit is just, I have this little kid going, my prince and princess going, oh, somebody's going to ask this. Because they're just sitting there and they know what you're about to ask. And then when you ask, they turn into these little like butterflies and they just fly around going, oh, we get to do this. I'm like, I don't know what we're going to do. And they go, don't worry, we got you. And They always do. So I love it. It's as excited as you get, I get as it's bubbling up. None of this is script. I've never taken any of you in 7,000 hours of conversation on a go take a picture of your future self. Never. And yet, if your first one's your worst one, that was pretty damn good. So I can't thank you all enough for allowing me to continue to express my gift. It's just, it blows me away. Because I literally became the reporter of the reporter going, okay, we're going to go watch this reporter. I'm like, yeah. The controlled chaos. It's like a nuclear explosion in my brain. Controlled chaos. That just, I don't know where this stuff comes from, and I don't need to know because it's here to serve me. The vibration is to serve me. And I share this again so that you can all go on this journey and say, if we allow our best version to step in sooner rather than later, we have a simple question of, could you explain the Polaroid a little more? Sure. And that happens. I want to say it's groundbreaking. We're breaking the rules of how you should be journaling and setting goals. Not one of us has set a goal, yet every one of us has a goal that's bigger than we ever thought possible. That's squirrely to most people. They're like, well, so what's your plan? Stay in my state. So, who else? Anyone else? Thoughts, comments, questions? I don't even know what time it is. I honestly don't. I guess I can go back to this. Yeah. Any last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways?
I am so happy.
Well, there you go. I was going to say, tell your face.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, welcome, welcome. Anyone else? Last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways before we head out?
The biggest takeaway definitely is that things become effortless, man. Things become effortless once you really hone in. I actually had a conversation with a friend just this morning before the call came on. He came to the lake, to the same place that we, sit at. So guy started, he's a good guy, but he's one of those people that you can you can small talk to him now till Sunday. Right. This guy only knows small talk, right? So he started talking about, the prices went up and the fuel is this much and my bills are this much and blah blah blah. And at one point, maybe I was rude, but whatever. At one point, I just told him, "Hey man, listen, I appreciate you, but I really can't talk about this right now. I really don't want to talk about this." Because immediately I thought of me. I thought of December 2025 me. And if that guy is here and he's doing this and he's earning this much and so on and so forth, that guy doesn't care. That guy doesn't even go to the grocery store, right? He has stuff delivered. So that guy doesn't really care about about the groceries and the bills. And this is what Luis, I think, said, that, does that person do the things that I'm currently doing? So if I'm doing something right now, does that person a year from now, does that person do this? And if they do, it's in alignment. And if they don't, you got to make a decision to cut it out. And so maybe I was at risk of being rude, maybe, but I told him, "Hey man, listen, I really don't want to talk about this." So it just gave me an awareness that stuff is really getting burnt into my mind, and I'm really happy about that. Really excited.
And so, what what came up as you were communicating is sometimes it's called the third, find the common enemy. And what you might say to him is, hey, listen, my boss has asked me to get some things done. And I got to really focus on those. So I love our conversations. Can we pick this up at another time? Yeah, sure. And what happens is if you do that enough, it's kind of like Pavlovian. They realize that they can't come to you with, they can't be in your energy and have those dialogues because your boss is running the show, which is you, your boss. My boss has got some big things for me that I gotta get done in the next kind of 24 hours. So I love our conversations. Can we pick this up tomorrow? Because remember, it's important for you to stay in your state. And if you have to, hey, I don't want to talk about that. True. Can you say it in a way that serves you though? Self-love. Can you self-love yourself? Say, hey, listen, I'm on a little bit of a me journey right now. There's space for you, but I'm on a journey for me right now, and you don't fit my kayak.
Well, the reason that I was happy about it is because those were my feelings at the
Yep.
time.
And that's
Because
awesome.
I genuinely told him, hey man, listen, I love you. I appreciate you. I love having a cup of coffee every once in a while with you, but I really don't want to talk about this right now.
Yep.
And he said, okay. And he just left. No hard feelings. He even messaged me, hey, when's the next time we're gonna have a drink? I said, whenever you want. So it's just like you said, we need to understand the fact that it's okay for you to be rich better, healthy better. And it's okay for that to happen, because if some people are gonna be left out, I mean, they're not really left out, because if they were in alignment with you, they would stay. I mean, they would come back next time and talk about some deep talk over
Yep.
the drinks. So once again, just after these 7 days, it's stuff are becoming effortless. Stuff
How
is
many of
really
us
becoming effortless.
How many of us wish we had this at AJ's age?
23. Yep.
Yeah. Do you think some of our lives would be a little bit more fascinating?
This is what I told my lady this past weekend. She said, how do you know all of this? And I told her, hey, listen, I know this guy, and you met him, by the way. I mean, she met you that one time
Yep.
in summertime. I told her, I mean, listen, I was on and off. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna cheat myself, but I was on and off on Daily Awakening for some periods. I mean, there would be periods of time I wouldn't come on for like a year.
Yep.
And then I would come on every day, right? So, I mean, I've been on and off with this, but I've been on and off with this for the past 5 years. I was 18 when I met you. I'm 23 now. So I've been listening to this stuff. I've been learning about it. I've been on and off learning though, gotta be honest, but I'm in this stuff for like the past 5 years. So it's, just makes sense at some point.
Isn't it great that we both didn't give up?
Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love it.
Thank you.
Love it, love it, love it. Anyone else? Last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaway. Okay, everybody. I love you tons. I appreciate you. Tomorrow we'll be doing session 6, and I'll be driving today, so no call this evening. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. I'm your head brain training. Get your vision in order, Misfit. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
Next event. Love you, RC. Somebody give me some Costa Rica.
Pura vida.
We love you, Mark. And some Lydias.
Peace be with us.
Peace be with us. And some queen of helping you set your vision and have a better tomorrow. Jessie Lee Ward.
Boss
Lee.
And Gurgly, we miss you. We'll see you soon. We love you, Fee. All right, everybody, go have some fun. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your energy. And thanks for letting me have the best day ever. Bye for now.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you,
Travel
Sean.
safe.
Fun.
Love you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You all.